So, the death of console gaming seems to be a big wet dream for PC gamers like Top Hats and Champagne and a lot of people in the PC community. Now, I'm not saying this to start a flame war here, I'm saying it because it needs to be said. Console gaming will never die. Absolutely not. Console gaming 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now will still be alive. I know that sounds like a bold thing to say. How can you predict that far into the future? Well, if the past 40 years of the gaming industry have gone the same exact way, I'm pretty confident that the next 40 years of the gaming industry will maybe not go the exact same way. There will be a few key differences, but generally, it will be the same exact way. Consoles will continue to survive and will continue to thrive. People were counting out consoles, a lot of people in the PC community, during the beginning of the 8th generation saying, oh my god, when the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One specs were released, oh my god, these consoles are so underpowered. They're just, they're not up to date with PCs. Consoles are going to totally fail. Meanwhile, the PlayStation 4 just completely blew expectations, pretty much as the Switch is blowing expectations right now. And that's another thing. The Nintendo Switch is the hottest product right now in the industry. And it's a console, last time I checked, and it's also Nintendo's fastest selling product. So the assumption that console gaming is on a decline is a complete myth. It's a falsehood. Anybody who thinks that or says that obviously doesn't know their facts, because you look at the data, you look at the sales, and the numbers say otherwise. Console gaming is going absolutely nowhere. So that's one reason why console gaming will never die. Reason number 2, consoles are still more affordable than PCs. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One right now, you can get for $200 right now. Can you get a powerful gaming PC for $200 that can run every single game that the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One can? You cannot. And again, this is not me saying that consoles are better than PC. I do not think that consoles are better than PC. And I'm not trying to start a whole flame war saying, oh my god, consoles are more affordable, that's why they're better, like I used to do back in the day. That's not what I'm doing here. Instead, I'm saying you cannot deny that consoles are more affordable than PCs. In the short term, you can make an argument in the long run. PCs have more sales, you have humble bundles, and you have all that stuff. But price matters to consumers a lot. And to say that consumers are willing to invest an extra couple $100 on something that may benefit them more in the long run, the data doesn't show that. It just doesn't. Not to mention all the people that couldn't even afford the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. How many people, I don't know about now, but for a good period of time during this generation, were still playing their games exclusively on the PS3 or the 360. They did not move on to the new generation. And that's a lot of people that were like that. Never mind the people that were able to afford the PS4 and Xbox One just barely, but couldn't really get a new PC because, that's generally more expensive. Up front, I'm talking about. But that's still a very big factor as to why console gaming will never die, because price tags matter to consumers. That's why Android is a much bigger OS than iOS. So as long as PCs up front cost significantly more than consoles, which they still do, that's going to be another significant reason why consoles are not going anywhere and that consoles will never die. So far we've listed 2 reasons. Reason number 3, exclusive content. Exclusive content matters also, like I explained last video. Exclusive content matters. So games like The Last of Us that are critically acclaimed, and we got The Last of Us 2 coming up, those are system sellers, whether you like to admit it or not. Exclusive content is a very important thing. And that goes for all platforms, including PC. If PC gaming did not have any exclusive content whatsoever, if they didn't have exciting exclusive content like, League of Legends, I guess you can say, that's a big exclusive game that, shit ton of people play. PUBG originally was a PC exclusive. It might as well still be, because the Xbox One version runs like shit and the mobile version is just a total joke. But for the entire summer, PUBG was the hottest thing going before Fortnite took over, and that was only on PC. So PC also has a lot of exclusive content. That's why PC is a hot platform right now. But if we all had the same games, and this is like a little utopian thing that people wish for, is that we can all play the same games together, and there's no such thing as exclusives, and we're all living in harmony, and there's no console wars, and there's nothing like that. That cannot happen in a stable ecosystem, because if there's no exclusive content, there's no reason for companies to compete with one another. Exclusive content is a catalyst for competition. Remember that. If you don't have exclusive content, then you don't have anything to bring to the table. And that's why Sony and the PlayStation 4 are selling so well, and the Xbox One is not, because the Xbox One has no exclusive content, like I explained last time. So obviously, there will continue to be exclusive content that you can only get on a console. I understand you also have emulators and whatnot, but you don't even have a working PS2 emulator on PC. Never mind a working PS3 emulator or a working PS4 emulator, so that's not even a factor. And also the Nintendo Switch is a hot thing right now because of Nintendo exclusive content. We all know you will never get Nintendo games on PC unless you pirate them, but the newest Nintendo games you will never see on PC. The Wii U emulator, I think, can only run the Zelda game, and they really can't run any other game because the Wii U is a very complex, it's hard, emulation is easier said than done, and you cannot play the newest Smash Brothers on a PC. You cannot play the newest Mario platformer on the PC, and those are significant system sellers, and Nintendo is known for their exclusive content, and Nintendo is never putting their content on another platform. So, yeah, Nintendo and Sony, their exclusive properties are very important in the gaming industry. They're some of the most critically acclaimed games every year that they come out. So that's another reason why consoles will never die, because those games, those properties, always push hardware units. Reason number 4 is convenience. Now, I know consoles have lost their convenience factor a lot over the years, but either way, even though you still have to download and install your discs, and you can't just pop in and play like you used to be able to do back in the day, that still does not mean that PlayStation and Xbox are significantly more convenient than PC. Because let's face it, there's a significant number of the population that is either too stupid or just doesn't care enough to assemble a PC and deal with the hardware issues that come with playing on PC. Because solving hardware issues is much harder on PC than on consoles. Usually on consoles, if the game crashes, it usually fixes itself and you can just relaunch the game and it works fine. Unless you have a malfunctioning system, then you would have to get another system. I mean, that happens sometimes. But you also have malfunctioning PCs, and it's much more prevalent on PC. I don't care what anybody says, that is still true. I've encountered much more issues on PC than consoles. That's not saying that I think consoles are better because of that. I'm just saying it's my experience and it's a lot of other people's experience. If you have never experienced crashes and troubleshooting on PC while playing your games, then you are either extremely lucky or something else, because that's a very, very, very big part of the PC experience is troubleshooting and dealing with issues and trying to figure it out. That's what the Steam forums are for. So the point is, consoles are still more convenient, and that's another reason why they will never die. PCs will just never be able to catch up to consoles with inconvenience, because PCs are very complex, and I know consoles are pretty much conventional PCs, but I'm saying your standard PC that you use to browse the internet and, do all that stuff on, do work, they're much more complex systems than, let's say, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are built with convenience in mind, and that's how it is, and that's how it always will be. So that's reason number 4 why consoles will never die. Reason number 5 is an issue that people always ignore, and I actually used to be one of those people, ignoring the need for the physical market to exist. I've always thought physical games, ever since digital distribution became really, really, really big on consoles, I didn't have to go to GameStop anymore and deal with their bullshit, always trying to push a product on me, and it ends up actually being more expensive for me to go out in GameStop and buy a new game because of all the taxes and everything. It's just crazy. Have you ever tried to go to GameStop and buy a new game recently? It's way more than $60. While go on PlayStation, Xbox has a tax, but PlayStation does not have a tax. And you can get it for $59.99 exactly. You don't have to worry about sales taxes. Taxes are included in the PlayStation Store, which, that's why I always go on PlayStation Store now. And I also go on Xbox because of the convenience factor. But the reason why there's still disc trays on consoles right now as we speak is because there's a huge need for that, okay? Now, while you still have to install your discs, people would still rather install them on a disc than have to download them because there are a lot of people, and we're talking about the United States alone, never mind the entire world population, which is even bigger with what I'm talking about here. But there's a significant part of the country, never mind the world, of the country, of the United States of America, that is not developed enough to be able to download and install a video game within a reasonable amount of time. I'll give you a good example. So I'm moving, right? I lived in a very urban area for most of my life, but I am moving in a few months. So, just giving you that warning. So if there's not a lot of videos coming up soon, that's going to be the reason why, because I'll be dealing with moving and packing and, settling into a completely different place. Okay, so I'm moving to a place where the only good internet that you have is HughesNet, satellite internet. You know how bad that is, though, downloading and installing games? It's pretty fucking bad. 25 megabits per second, it's a nightmare, okay? I might be able to get Spectrum if I'm lucky, but chances are I'm gonna be forced with HughesNet. That's gonna be the only thing I'm gonna fucking have. And if that happens, God fucking help me. I'm gonna want to pull a fucking bullet in my head because I'll have a hard time playing games online. They'll run like absolute shit. It would take me practically days to install a fucking game if it's big enough. While you can still go to GameStop or Walmart, whatever places still sell physical games, and it would take much less time to install your game than if you were to try to download it over the internet. And that's something a lot of people tend to overlook because a lot of people like me have lived in very developed, very urban areas their entire lives and don't understand the struggles that other people go through. And the fact of the matter is, you go to some very, very, very rural area and you go around asking people. I mean, there's a chance that people aren't gamers, but to the ones that are gamers, none of them are PC gamers. Absolutely none of them, because they can't deal with the DRM. The DRM they can't do it because they don't have the internet capabilities that are required to do such a thing, to have always DRM like the PC does. It's a pretty much DRM-centric ecosystem. Now, I know what people are going to say. Well, within time, more and more people will be able to play their games online like everyone else and be able to download their games over the internet like everyone else. That may be true, but how long is that going to take? 10 years? Probably not. 20 years? Probably not. 50 years? Maybe. 100 years? I don't know, but it's going to take a very long time. Do you understand how many people... You're talking about almost half of the population that does not have a very good internet connection. Now, the reason why places like Blockbuster are out of business, even in rural areas where internet's not good, is because even with HughesNet and satellite internet, you'll have... It's 25 megabytes is still okay enough to be able to stream on Netflix. Not good enough to be able to download games. Never mind stream video games. Oh my god. People say streaming is the future. Not of the gaming industry. Just because it works for movies doesn't mean it's going to work here. So the fifth reason why consoles never die is simply because there's just not enough people that are technologically able to be able to download their games and deal with constant DRM and having to have a very stable internet connection. And if I exclude the US and just talk about the rest of the world, places in Asia, Europe that also have the same dilemma as a lot of people in rural parts of America, it's just too much to just say, fuck consoles are dead. you're going to exclude a huge market there, because there are a lot of people that are, would like to play games like The Last of Us, single-player centric games that don't really need internet connection and would be happy to buy the game on disc, but cannot play, cannot download them digitally. So those are 5 reasons why console gaming will never die. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I'm willing to have actual civil discussions with you people. If you guys have any good counters to my arguments, I'm actually very interested to hear them, because I actually think I did a pretty good job presenting my case, and I had pretty strong evidence to support those claims that I made. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident that consoles are never going anywhere, no matter how much PC gamers wish that to be the case, because they feel like console gaming is holding them back. They feel like if consoles were gone, then PC would just have limitless potential, and the multi-platform games that we have, Watch Dogs being a good example, they wouldn't have to lower their graphics for console gamers. It's just PC only, and it would just be like a paradise for people, even though they ignore the fact that there are people who have mid-range PCs, and that there are people who have, even low-end PCs that cannot run the highest graphics possible. So you would still have to downsize for those people, regardless of whether or not consoles die. So it's just complete total nonsense that, first of all, the gaming industry would be better if consoles were dead, and that PC gamers would benefit if consoles were dead. It's just complete nonsense. I love you, Top Hats, but you're completely wrong by saying that. Anyway, this is Charlie from 8-Bit Politics, signing out. Thanks for tuning in, guys.